assault and batteries, but my trunk stay ever ready. Assault and battery, if you scared, you never ready.
Alright, a video I've seen a lot on social media recently is who is on your Mount Rushmore, and for me it's so subjective. When you see these videos, you see fans answer the question, everyone really answers on who their personal favorites are. So if you were to ask me who my Mount Rushmore, I would just pick my top 4 favorite wrestlers of all time, which would obviously be Austin, Batista, Shawn Michaels, and Kurt Angle. Those would be my top 4 if you want my personal Mount Rushmore. But this is going to be the WWE Mount Rushmore. These guys may not be my personal favorites. They may not be on my top 5 or 10 favorite wrestlers of all time, but I have to give them that trophy, that credential that they are the most iconic wrestlers, in the WWE. And I think that's where a lot of people get confused, where they're not their favorite, but you have to respect what they've done. And for me, WWE Mount Rushmore, it goes on notoriety, it goes by legendary status, it doesn't always have to be in-ring status, in-ring ability. But for me, I think WWE, in the WWE sense, who made the biggest impact and who really put the WWE on the map and who really transcended what it is to be a WWE superstar. And I think all that kind of goes into what it takes to be on the Mount Rushmore. And where for someone else, that may not be your criteria. It could be the best in-ring, the best mic skills, whatever, all around. But for me, I think it takes someone to transcend what they were in that company and use that company as almost like a rocket ship, just light the fire on their ass and they took off. So with that being said, I think the first one has to be, without a shadow of a doubt, has to be Hulk Hogan. Whether you like him or not, Hulk Hogan put wrestling, not only the WWE, he put wrestling on the map. And I don't think it's a far stretch to say that he is probably one of maybe 3 to 5 people who every person can recognize in the world. They say he's the most recognizable face, one of, and you can't take that away from him. The documentary came out, you just see how big of an impact he's had. And even before the documentary, I know a lot of fans will be like, we know how big Hulk Hogan is, but we also seen the rise and fall of Terry Bollea as Hulk Hogan. But at the end of the day, he is what wrestling represents. I think he is the icon of what wrestling, he just is professional wrestling. I think there's no other way to put it. And it's great, it's still to this day, it saddens me that he's not here anymore, but his legacy will live on forever. And that's, I think, a big part of it is his legacy. He is truly immortal. Second is the person I feel who took over after Hulk Hogan hung him up, and that is Stone Cold Steve Austin. He is my number 1 favorite of all time. But he really took wrestling from the Hulk Hogan era to the Attitude Era, and he made wrestling more popular than I guess it ever was. You look at the numbers, they always say the 80s numbers were minuscule compared to what Stone Cold Steve Austin did, and he took Attitude and he brought it to mainstream, what WWE was kind of lacking from the time Hogan left up until 98, 99. And Stone Cold Steve Austin saved wrestling from almost dying. There was a point in, right after Hogan left from 94 to 96 where they were struggling, but Stone Cold Steve Austin came and he literally took that company on the back and he went against WCW with the rest of the Attitude Era guys, and they made wrestling cool. And that's what I think that wrestling wasn't for so long. And Steve Austin made it cool. And again, those two, I feel like, on everyone's Mount Rushmore, those two need to be there. Stone Cold Steve Austin and Hulk Hogan. For number 3, I have to say The Rock, because he is someone that, again, transcended wrestling, and he is now becoming one of the more recognizable people in the world. He is, you look at the Instagram followers, you look at him compared to the second, who would have been maybe Logan Paul or whoever it is, there's a big gap between The Rock being the number 1 most followed WWE superstar of all time and number 2, whoever it is. There's a big gap. I think Rock's at 303 million or something like that. But again, Rock and Austin together, they were in charge of leading Team WWF to victory when it came to the Monday Night Wars. Austin, Rock, Triple H, Mick Foley, Undertaker, Kane, these guys were all key parts. And I feel like with The Rock, with everything he's done in wrestling and outside of wrestling, he's really built that legacy for himself to be, I feel like he's really earned that spot as the third guy on the Mount Rushmore. And number 4 is hard. I feel like you can kind of go in and out on who would be there, who wouldn't be there. And I would have to give number 4 to The Undertaker. He may not be one of my personal favorites, but you can't deny the fact that he's been there from the very beginning. He started in 1990. He was that character. He was loyal to the company. He became that leader in the locker room. He is now the leader outside, doing the stuff in AAA. He is what the perfect WWE superstar should be. That's probably the best way I can put it. He was someone that, from what you hear in interviews, he's someone that you can go for advice. He's someone that would be that leader. And I feel like that's what every company needs. I think that's what every company seeks. AEW seeks it. They thought they had it with CM Punk. They have it with Edge. They have it with Chris Jericho. But Undertaker was always that guy from the very beginning to be that person to kind of take charge. And I think for him, the reason I put him number 4 is the loyalty. And I think the character and his loyalty to the company. And again, you can always swap out the Undertaker. You can put Shawn Michaels in there. You can put Ric Flair in there. You can put Andre the Giant or the Macho Man. I feel like that 4th spot is so interchangeable with so many guys. But if you were to ask me for like one person and give a final answer, it would have to be the Undertaker. And but again, right, I can make the same thing for Shawn Michaels, because Shawn Michaels' wrestling ability is a lot better than the Undertaker's was. And legacy-wise, I feel like they're very equal. Recognizable, faces, you got to give it to the Undertaker. But then again, Macho Man, another person whose legacy's there. He's been there in the 80s, still talked about to this day. But, again, for me, just final answer, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, and The Undertaker. Those are my top 4 for my WWE Mount Rushmore. So let me know what yours are, and I'll see you guys in the next video.